How's it going? So we're back with today is going to be a Q&A. I've been back now in office for like a couple of days, but I have been gone for, I think like 2 weeks was the last time I posted a live stream. Let me just check, 3 weeks ago. And I kind of want to give you an update about where I've been and kind of what's been going on. And so to kind of answer that question, I guess I'll just share my screen real quick. So I have a blood disease called Evans syndrome. These are obviously, it's like some of these things are super old, right? And some of them are newer. But I was diagnosed when I was like 9 years old. And like what it is an autoimmune disorder where my immune system attacks my red blood cells and platelets. So, basically I had a flare up. Like this is when I was really bad one time. I had a flare up 3 weeks ago and I was just like sleeping like 20 hours a day and like really not knowing what's going on. And I kind of figured I knew what was going on, right? So basically when my red blood cells go low, I don't have any oxygen pumping through my blood. So like my heart has to work super extra hard and I am, just not feeling good. I'm like super fatigued. And I was putting off the hospital for a while because I'm not sure if you've ever been in the hospital before, but it sucks really bad going to the hospital. And especially having to get infusions and stuff like that. A lot of the side effects that of the medicine they give me are like pretty raw, pretty sucky. So I basically put it off for like a week, but during that week I was just out of it, right? Like not even basically sleeping and then only getting up to, use the restroom and maybe grab a little bite to eat. But that was basically it. After that, I was just asleep, right? So eventually it kind of culminated in me, I was talking to my family, and typically my family is the one who, they're like, hey, like you are not looking good, right? Like you're not doing good. You have to go to the hospital. And so I listened to them. And so I went to the hospital. I went to the emergency room. I ended up getting admitted into the hospital, stayed there for like 3 days or so, 3 or 4 days. And they gave me some medicine. Basically, I get like a part of chemotherapy. And that's basically what I was doing. I kind of look like this, getting these infusions. And that's what I've been doing, kind of healing, resting, recovering. I'm back now. But I kind of want to just, get that out of the way and kind of let you know exactly where I've been. Because again, like that was super hard and heavy for me, right? Now that being said, if you have any questions about my disease is called Evans syndrome. If you look it up on Google, you'll see that it's like not healthy for someone to have that. But it's a lot scarier online than what it actually is, I feel. So just having to stay optimistic about that and keep pushing through no matter what. But number two, kind of moving on into the software side of things and like the actual bot building side of things, answering some questions there for you guys. I've had some questions come up these past couple of days since I've been out, and I kind of want to answer them. So I upload daily vlogs, like daily bot launches. And I just want to, like, someone asked, like, what's the point of that, right? And it's really just to show you, like, how to launch bots in the real world, right? So we really identified 3 different, types of traders. There's the beginners, intermediate, and expert. And basically, we want to show each and every single one of them that if you use a rules-based strategy and the right technology, you can go from whatever level you're at right now to the next one, right? And ideally, at the end of the day, you'll have a fully automated, basically like ATM machine, money printer, when you have your trading strategy automated, right? And so using Arcade, using our software, I want to show you exactly how to do that. So if you watch those daily streams, it's literally a tutorial, step-by-step instructions on how exactly you can go from someone that knows absolutely zero or someone that knows, a little bit, but not a way to making a consistent, profit, to someone who is consistently profitable in the market, right? Using technology in the way that currently is reserved for Wall Street traders. And you could do all of that without a college education or any fancy degree or any network. You could do it, even if you work a full-time job, even if you have a wife and multiple kids, or even if you're a super successful business owner, right? It's all possible given, that we have this built on top of some of the most robust AI out there. And so that's kind of the purpose of these, daily streams, is just to make sure that, the beginners know trading is now officially beginner friendly, and you don't have to read any big books or do any of the sacrifices that we used to have to do back in the old days, right? So yeah, that's basically it. And the next question I got on the daily stream side of things is, if you're a beginner, how do you know if you're ready for a trading bot? I think it's pretty self-explanatory, right? I might be a little bit biased, but I think everyone is ready for a trading bot if they have the right strategy, right? So I'll kind of give you a little rundown, right? Like, what exactly is a trading strategy? Some people really don't know what a trading strategy is. I'll show you real quick. I'm going to pull up Seeking Alpha. We'll go ahead and do this. So Seeking Alpha, this is just a momentum strategy right here, right? You can see that these are some momentum strategies. This is the SMA, right? Super common strategy. And this is just VU, right? Which is the S&P 500. And what a strategy is rules, right? So, like, for example, let's look at this red line. This is the SMA. The orange line is the price. If the orange line crosses, actually, let's look at the red. Let's look at this red line right here. So this orange line, this red line. If the orange line crosses from above to below, that means sell, right? So right here, you're going to sell. Right here, you're going to buy, right? This is a strategy, right? Or this is an indicator, and you could use indicators as a strategy, right? So for example, again, we're following the red and orange line. Right here, you're going to sell. Right here, you're going to buy. You're going to profit all this amount. And then before it goes too low, right? Like before we're hitting this drawdown, like the most of it, we're going to sell. Then we're going to buy back over here, right? So by using the strategy, you might be missing out on some gains, right? But you're minimizing drawdown, right? And that's the benefit. And that's why some people love this strategy, is because, especially in retirement, depending on your goals, you're reducing some volatility, right? You're reducing some risk, right? Some volatility risk. And so again, that's one example of a strategy, one example of an indicator. And what this is, right? So once you have a rules-based strategy, an indicator-based strategy, right? It could be this, it could be something else, right? At that point in time, it's a total waste of time to not have an automated trading bot, right? Because what's the point of sitting in front of a computer watching second by second, right? Minute by minute, day by day, month by month, a chart, right? For you to make a decision when you could just have a computer monitor that chart, right? You can have a computer literally make sure every single second of every single day that your strategy is executed perfectly, right? There's absolutely no reason for a human to sit in front of a computer any day, anymore in these days, right? To trade. So hopefully that answers your question. If you're a beginner, as long as you have a trading strategy, and again, Arcade helps you find trading strategies as well if you don't have one. As long as you have a trading strategy, I recommend, don't waste your time manually trading. Go ahead and just automate that sucker, right? So let's move on to the next one. I'm looking at these questions here. Do I need to know how to code to build what you are showing? No, absolutely not. So inside of Arcade, you do not need to know how to code. You just literally type into English, right? So like if you have a question about like how to trade, you just literally type it out. And then the AI will answer it. If you want to automate a trading bot, you just put your entry and exit conditions in there, and it will actually code for you. The AI will code for you. You don't need to touch code at all, right? It's all English. You could even, if you want to copy and paste something that you find on the internet, You could just copy and paste it, and it will actually build it for you. So you don't need to know how to code at all. The next question is, aren't trading bots super risky? So this is a really great question. Trading bots themselves are nothing, there's no risk involved, really, right? The risk comes from the strategy level, right? So if you have a shitty strategy, right? If you have a losing strategy, it's not just risk, it's actually guaranteed failure, right? Especially if you're using a trading bot, right? So if you have a bad strategy, a strategy that loses money, if you put it into a trading bot, I can guarantee you systematically you will lose money, right? Every single trade you take, you will lose money, right? Because the rules that you're trading, right? Going back to this right here, right? Going back to this thing, hopefully you can see my screen, right? Yep, you can see my screen. If your rules, if your indicator is set up in a way that every time you take a trade, you're going to lose money, the trading bot just makes sure that you never miss a trade, okay? So if you never miss a trade and your trading strategy sucks, then you are guaranteed to lose money, right? Now, if your trading strategy is awesome, then you are guaranteed to do awesome, right? The trading bot itself carries no risk per se, unless it's like technology risk. But again, as long as you're with a reputable, software provider, you should be fine, right? The real risk comes in the strategy itself and the underlying asset that you're trading. As long as those two things are good, then you should be good, right? Next question is, how much money do you need to start? There's a bunch of different, answers to that question. I honestly think it's just as much as one share of whatever company that you are, looking to invest in, right? Or one share of, whatever currency, whatever, right? Like just one share, right? We'll kind of get your feet wet and kind of get you that, really it's a confidence thing at first, right? Just to give it a shot, right? And then you kind of have the ability to learn more and more. But listen, I'll be honest with you, if you don't have a strong income, then I wouldn't necessarily focus on investing quite yet, right? I think income is the most important thing. But again, and even before that, right? If you want to learn without risking any money, you don't even necessarily need any money to gain that confidence, right? You could back test, you could paper trade. There's so many different, avenues that you can go down to learn, especially again with AI, with companies like Arcade, before you ever risk real money. You don't even need to buy a share, right? In terms of real money, right? To gain that confidence, right? So hopefully that answers that question there. You don't really need any money. If you want to gain some confidence, just start one share at a time. But the main thing is, like, do you have that reoccurring income so you're set up for your long-term goals rather than just trying to make a quick buck? So what's the biggest mistake people make with bots? I mean, I would have to say the number one thing that I've seen is not back testing, not paper trading, and putting all of their eggs in one basket before they test, right? Before they know it, right, they spent a bunch of money developing these trading bots only for them not to work, and they end up blowing accounts with a shitty strategy, right? So you have to find a good strategy. You have to test it rigorously. And if you don't do those things before you risk real money, that is by far and away the biggest mistake that I see people make time and time again over thousands of trading bots, right? And so I'm going over to the next question here. So next one is, how do you decide if a back test is good enough? So again, it really just depends on your trading goals, right? There's really two things that I look at, right, whenever I back test. And it's going to be, again, number one, what are the returns? Actually, I'll bring up Arcade right now. Oh, I'm really zoomed out here. This is Arcade. So you can go ahead and just like run this trading strategy here. And we're just going to go real quick, just kind of show you some of the metrics here that you can get inside of Arcade. My main thing that I look for is the P&L and really like the return on investment over the time frame, right? And then I want to compare that to the index, right? So obviously this is a loser over this time frame. And I also want to look at the max drawdown, right? Because I want to basically beat a benchmark, right? So I want to beat the S&P 500. I want to beat the underlying asset just on a buy and hold basis. And I also want to reduce as much as possible for that return the max drawdown. Because again, this is a bad strategy to look at. You can see it's taken a bunch of different trades and it's resulted in 186 trades, 41%. So this is not something I would use. I want a positive win rate. I want a positive profit factor that obviously results in a positive P&L. And I also want a as low as possible max drawdown. So for example, right here, if I'm in retirement or if I'm just wanting to have like relatively steady returns, right? If I were to go from right here to right here, actually, let's pull up this chart right here to kind of give us a better visual. Yeah, so like right here to right here, I'm down 17%. So if you had $1 million saved up, you'd be down $170,000, right? From the peak, right? So your $1 million turned into, what is that? Like $830,000 in, what is that? February to April, right? So like a month and a half, you've lost $170,000, right? If your drawdown instead, right? Like this is the exact same time frame right here. Right? If you sold right here, right, instead of losing $170,000, you're now losing probably 50, anywhere between like 50 and it looks like about half, like a little less than half up, but like 50 to, what is half of 170? Brain fart. But anywhere between like 50 and what is that, like 70? Anywhere between like $50,000 and $70,000, you'll be losing instead of 170. So you want to make sure you're taking into account that max drawdown. See, this is less than 1% max drawdown, right? So at any point in time, the most you are off the peak is 0.11, right? This is like very baby, right? Like you're not going to blow, like any bills you need to pay. If you need to liquidate any assets, you're always going to be able to liquidate your assets and cover any bills. But again, if you lose $170,000, it may be harder to liquidate, right? So you don't want to necessarily, you want to stay away from max drawdowns that are large, and you also want to look at a positive win rate, a positive profit factor. Profit factor takes precedent over win rate. In my opinion, I don't really want many trades because the fees tend to stack up over time. So those are the things that I look at personally for how I know when a back test is good enough. But again, it varies based on person to person, but those are just some things that I take into account, right? The next question is, what's the best place for me to start if I've never built a trading strategy? So I think number one is just use AI at this current juncture, right? Like I don't have books on me right now, but I've read, when I first got started trading, I read a ton of books. I read like white papers, like PhD level white papers, and just, so many different resources that I had to go through to get to the knowledge level that I'm at. I wish I had AI, honestly, right? And again, like there's like some phantom logic. Sometimes AI will get off base, but for the most part, it's pretty good. You can learn a lot of the same concepts really, really easily. But yeah, so I would say use AI, prompt against it, right? Figure out how to use a strategy. And then we actually we offer like an entire roadmap, and this kind of goes into the next question. The next question is, how can I work with you more directly? And this is the roadmap that we kind of advise people to follow. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull it up. So right over here, this is the roadmap we advise people to follow here. We create a profile for you guys, right? We set you up with the Trading Success Roadmap. We build a hands-on bot with you, and we give you a 30-day action plan to kind of have success with the roadmap. This is our roadmap here, right? We literally, everyone from beginner to intermediate to advanced, we go ahead and take them through the exact same thing right here. I believe you can still see my screen, right? Hopefully you can still see that. Boop, yep. Sorry about that. Cool. So now you can see my screen here. Everyone goes through the exact same framework, right? Regardless of kind of where they start. And this is inside of Arcade, this is outside of Arcade. If you look at like the common themes through, through the entirety of the investment landscape and trading landscape, you have the beginners who need to learn the very basics. Then you need to learn a strategy. Then you go into testing, figure out if it's worth it in your investment goals. Then you launch a bot, connect your broker, paper trade. You assess the results through analytics. And if at any point in time during any one of these junctures you are not achieving the results that you want, you simply just go back and find a new strategy and you start over, right? Until you're eventually finding the results you want and achieving your goals in the way that you want to, right? And so again, the question is, how do I know exactly, if this is going to be a good strategy, right? How do I get started trading? Is really just finding, a good framework, a good roadmap, and then from there, following it to a T, right? And if at any point in time you get lost, go back and find a new strategy. And the strategy ideally, right? Not even ideally, like guaranteed the strategy. If you have a winning strategy, that is the key to success, right? It's the same thing in business too, right? Or, I mentioned at the beginning of the call, like I struggle with health, right? Your doctor has a strategy, right, to follow to get you back to health. And just following that approach and trusting in it, right, and trusting the data, that ultimately is what will lead you to like long-term success, right? So that being said, if you want to work with me directly and follow that roadmap with me, the link to get started is down below. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know as well. Again, when we work together, we work basically, it's like a 2 to 3 hour session, deep dive, where I walk you through the exact same framework that I use to manage, $1.7 million, right around there, and also launch thousands of trading bots for folks, throughout the past couple of years. So again, if you have any questions, leave it in the comments below. And I'm so glad to be back and healthy again. And we'll start streaming more soon. Okay. Anyways, talk soon. Peace.